Hello everybody, it's Ken Faulkner, and I got another knife video for you. I was kind of behind on doing videos for a little bit last week, so I had a couple of new knives come in, and I got to catch up here, so I'll try to get some in this morning. Yes, it is morning. I'm trying to get the video in prior to the heat coming on later on in the day. What I got here in front of you is a couple of Ontario knife company knives. And about a week ago, there was a lot of talk on the YouTube videos about Ontario Knife Company. It's a company that's been around for well over 100 years and very well known. They got pretty solid knives and designs. Basic stuff mostly. And what I like about them is that they're good, tough work, budget knives. You're not gonna spend a ton of money on them, but they get the job done. And that was my thing when I bought my original this Rat 2 here. These are both Rat knives. You can see they look very much alike. This one is the one I've had for quite a while now, and I actually bought this back when they first started going from, I think they had the OS 8 before this, and they started offering a D2 version. And that's when I picked this one up. One of the little jokes going around at the time, a few years back, was it's the Rat 2, so you can call it R2, and it's made in D2, so there you go, R2, D2. It's got that Star Wars reference. So anyway, it kind of caught my eye because of that, and I had to pick it up, see what all the excitement was about. I mean, it's not the most flashy knife, but it certainly is a good quality knife, and lots of good features to it. And there is the big brother, and you can see they look very much. I'm a big fan of OD Green. So I was looking at the different versions of it. I didn't really think about what color I had this one. I was going to buy this one this last week, and I ended up picking up pretty much the same. You got a little different symbol on the pocket clip, but otherwise, and the size obviously, but otherwise they're pretty close to the same thing. But this one is the Rat 1, and a lot of people use these for size comparisons. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to pick up this knife. But also because of my experience with the Rat 2, I knew it was a good work knife. I knew it was good, solid quality for a great budget price. So yeah, I went ahead and pulled the trigger and picked this one up in honor of the Ontario Knife Company, and they are still around. They've been bought out by a Chinese company. I don't know if the brand is going to change in any way, or they're going to continue selling them under this Chinese company's, manufacturing. These were made in Taiwan, so the rumor is that they will continue to be made in the same spot that they were made. Probably keep the same design. I'm sure Chinese company, the price is not going to skyrocket or anything like that. Hopefully the quality stays good. But they do make knives in the United States, or they did. There was a facility out in New York. I guess there's a lot of facilities, like older knife companies that were in that area on the East Coast. And anyway, they were there for many years, and they've closed that facility. So that's kind of a sad story. And it's a common story. You look at some of the other companies that have been around for a long time, like Cold Steel. They got bought out. Now, when Cold Steel got bought out, it seems like they've carried on fairly well. I don't see too much in the way of a decrease in quality or anything like that. They've come up with the Engage, with that type of new lock. They've continued to be around. So maybe Ontario will do the same. Anyway, one of the things I like about this knife, in the thumbnail, I had a couple of work gloves there, is that I have been called upon to go out to job sites. I do design engineering work, but we build plants, and we have to have them installed. We deliver and install these plants, and so I'm out at the job site quite often, and in different parts of the country, sometimes different parts of the world, and the knife limitations make it so that a knife this size may not be able to be carried, but I still want to have a knife. So quite often I'm able to have this knife here, the Rat 2, and it's served me well, and it's taken very little damage really over the years. Being as I'm more in a supervisor role, I don't get too crazy into the work, but I do lend a hand whenever I see that it needs to be done. And so anyway, this knife has got that nice flat grind. I mean, all the way down the blade. That's always a good sign of a slicing knife. And you can see it's not super thick up here. You can see it's got that, what they call that distal taper. So it goes from thick down to thin here. You see that with Spydercos and other very slicey knives. And so yeah, it really gets the job done, but it's a solid knife. It's got like a nylon type handle, but that's great at the work site. It's got some good grip to it. One thing that came to mind, I didn't really notice it until I bought this one. You notice how this one is a tip down carry. It's funny because you don't see too many knives that come as a tip down carry nowadays, but it also has that feature similar to Spyderco and some other companies where you can move that clip wherever the heck you want it to be. And I believe I must have moved this clip years ago and just forgot about that until I got this one. And I guarantee you, I mean, I know some people like the tip down, but I've gotten used to the tip up, and it just feels awkward to me if I have it tipped down. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be moving that. I do have some knives that are tipped down only, and it's not the end of the world for sure, but anyway, I'm sure I will be adjusting that. So anyway, the R2D2, the smaller of the two, great knife. I've loved it for years, but now I got this guy. And I always say it over and over again. You can say it with me if you want. I like bigger knives. And yes, this is a bigger knife. So this is a good size comparison. Also in the D2, if you look here. It's a good size comparison knife when you're looking at larger knives. So that's another good reason to have it. But also, if I'm doing work, around here in California, I can have a knife this size most places. Some cities it will change, but the city where I live, I'm able to carry any size folding knife I want. I could do the Espada XL, from Cold Steel if I want to. I might get some strange looks, but I can do it. So this is going to be good for doing some work around here, anything I want to do locally, or any states that I might go to that don't have that limitation, because I would rather have a bigger knife. One thing I was surprised about when I got this knife is that it's got some weight to it. Obviously this is a smaller knife, so even if it is, maybe heavier than some smaller knives, it's hard to see or feel that weight. But with this knife, it's solid. I mean, it feels solid. It's always a thing for me with knives when I get to experience it in my hand rather than looking at a picture of it on the internet. It makes a difference, and this thing is solid. It's got all these standoffs all the way down. They don't want to have any problems with this thing, bending or getting crushed or anything like that. It's just solid built knife. I think it was just meant for work. It's got a great grip that you can have that glove. Let me grab that sucker. Here's that glove that I was showing in the thumbnail. and you can grab a hold of it. This is like a work knife, and so you got this glove, and you can still get a hold of it. I don't know how well you can clear. Look at that. You can close it. You can, let's see if I can open it. You can get it open one-handed, even with this big old heavy glove. So that's pretty cool. I mean, if you're working with gloves, it's a different story than just bare hands. So it's something to consider. A couple of size comparisons on this guy. A couple of the knives that you can consider work knives. I would consider them to be work knives. This one's also in a budget realm. This is the Penguin. This is just the old school, old-fashioned, early version. Nothing too fancy with the micarta handles. But there's a good size comparison for the Rat 2. Very much the same. Blade shape's kind of almost the opposite, where you have the belly on this one, and this one's got the Wharncliffe kind of flat edge with the curve on the top. So they're almost like an opposite type thing, but they both have the thumb studs. You know, so anyway, very similar knife. You can see I've used this one a bit. I got to clean up that edge. And for the Rat 1, another popular one for showing size comparison, the PM2. Paramilitary 2, this is not quite as budget as these other knives that are out here, but still, it's not too bad of a price range, I feel. And it's good quality knife. It's got that distal taper that I talked about on these knives as well. So very slicey, tall flat grind, more odd type of shape, a little bit shorter, especially in the blade, a little less cutting length from the Rat 1, but still very close to the same. Very good grippy handles on all of these knives. And so you're going to be able to get out there. If you're wearing gloves, you're going to be able to work. And these are all common knives. I'm sure I'll be breaking out the Ontarios for some size comparisons in the future. And I'm glad to have it in the collection. And I hope that the brand's still there. Sad that it's not going to be a USA made company or a US company building things overseas. I still kind of like, even if I'm getting a knife from Taiwan, I like to have it come from a US company if possible. Just supporting, you know, it's like supporting small businesses, supporting companies within your country. I mean, I think it's a great thing. I have nothing bad to say about you know, foreign knives. I know foreign knives, knives from other countries. You know, other than the fact that, you know, I want to support within my own country. I mean, that's what I'm really looking for. I know that there are U.S. made knives that are really, really high quality, and I do appreciate them. But there are knives made in China that are really, really high quality as well. If I had to pick between the two, I'm going to pick within the United States. Just me, you know, that's how I feel about it. I might be willing to spend that extra money. I like to see U.S. companies find a way to be able to cut their costs and compete. You know, I know in the company that I work for, we are competing with foreign countries, and we are trying our best to find ways to be more efficient by being smarter. And I'd like to see knife companies do the same thing. Anyway, getting to be long on the video. Thanks for watching. Ontario Rat Company, good quality. They're probably still going to be around, so you don't have to rush out like I did and buy one. But I recommend it, especially if you're doing work with knives. If you're just doing it for putting it in a case, probably not the most pretty of knife. But yeah, for a work knife, it'll definitely do the job. All right, guys, I will talk to you later, and you guys have a good day.